What's going on, everybody? SniperYellow561 here for a new series that I feel like is pretty needed in the Warframe community right now, and we're going to be calling it So You've Heard. Now with this series, I'm going to be taking things that you've heard from other YouTubers, from the community, and kind of myth-busting a little bit. And on the very first video, I wanted to do something that I knew would rile a lot of feathers, and it's going to be Split Chamber. So you've heard Split Chamber is probably the best mod ever. You need it. It absolutely has to be on every gun, every time. It's one of the quote-unquote, what do they call it? The necessary mods you need. And I'm going to be kind of myth-busting that today. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of testing. Now this testing is absurd. There's no reason to ever be testing against level 135 enemies that scale with your mastery rank, mine being 21, so these enemies are going to be scaling extremely high for no fucking reason, just because that's what every other YouTuber does. They put it up against the highest possible enemy, and they always do the ancient healers for whatever reason, because they're the easiest to kill. So 135, there it is. We're going to be bringing one in, just because if there was two, I would just have to kill two things instead of one. And there you go. With Split Chamber, it's a one-hit kill. Now here's one of the myths about Split Chamber that I do want to explain to you guys. You'll be seeing it here. When I take Split Chamber off, you're going to see my damage go red. And it's almost half, it's about 90% less than what it was, because Split Chamber adds 90% chance to multi-shot. What that means is you have a 90% chance to fire a second round while shooting. So instead of shooting one grenade, there's a 90% chance you'll be shooting a second grenade. But that doesn't mean it necessarily increases your overall damage. So, oh, look at that. 2 shots instead of 1 to kill it. That's way out of control, and I can't take the time to not mod for that. But anyways, so Split Chamber, it does not inherently increase your damage, which means you're not going to be seeing higher numbers because of Split Chamber. You're only going to be seeing the same number a multiple of times. So instead of hitting 10,550 damage on your first shot, it'll be 10,550 damage plus another 10,550 damage. Mostly because you're firing a second round. So again, it's not inherently increasing your damage. What I'm trying to get across here is that there are other mods that you can be using that will inherently increase your damage. So 167 rounds left. It took about 43 rounds to kill that enemy. But again, I'm going to be going ahead and putting on a Bane mod, which I could be putting on any other mod I want that just inherently increased damage, another status mod, not a status, another dual stat mod. But this dude slaps the shit out of me right here. I was not ready for that kind of a beatdown. But anyways, so since Split Chamber doesn't actually increase the amount of damage you're going to be outputting, if you put on a mod that increases your critical damage, such as bladed rounds, not Argon Scope, I'm not one for Argon Scope. I don't believe in the mod. I don't think it does what people think it does. But look, 139 rounds. So a little bit more time to kill one dude, but still not an absurd amount more. Again, this is a ridiculous test. And in the next part, I'll be explaining, actual testing. So this is a little bit more of an actual test. So Sancti Tigris, I think I'm going to be looking for the Soma here, because I don't know how the alphabet goes. So here we go, Soma Prime. Again, the Bane mod test. So let's do Ancient Healer. And then we're going to be activating some buffs here. So a couple of buffs to get a little bit more damage out, because I want to make a point. If you think you need Split Chamber, then you don't. As you can see right there, I one-shot that enemy. I'm pretty sure this is after I had lowered the level to 40, which is a little bit more realistic. Split chamber is not a necessary mod, especially not if you're going up against, you know, if you go into a T4 survival for less than an hour, then just bring mods that you think you're going to have a lot of fun with. Bring a frame that you think can help output more damage, such as a sonar build Banshee. Mesa with all of her buffs. Chroma, again, with all of his buffs. You don't need all these mods that all the other YouTubers are telling you that you absolutely need, and they absolutely have to be on every single gun every single time. That's not how the game is meant to be played. You could see that on my tank where I had a guided ordnance to make up for the heavy caliber. And here I'm going back to the Bane mods. I feel like the Bane mods will help you output a little bit more damage, which, again, split chamber, yes, technically, you know, quote unquote, double the amount of damage you do, but I like using the Bane mods. I feel like they're a little bit more my playstyle. It still only takes a couple shots to kill, you know, regularly leveled enemies. When you see other YouTubers testing against 135s and 200 level enemies, you don't need to be testing against that because there's a good chance that you won't be going that far. And if you are going that far, then you have frames that will be helping you maximize your damage output. You'll have a sonar build Banshee, you'll have the Chroma, you'll have the Vex Armor Chroma, you'll have the Mirage giving you the buffs, you'll have the Equinox giving you the buffs. You don't need these mods that people are telling you need. All you need is to have fun with the game. It's a PvE game. It's a player versus enemy experience. You don't need to be listening to all these other YouTubers telling you how to play and how to mod and how to do this and how to do that. Just build the way you want to build. For instance, when you're building a frame for power strength and you need to ask, you know, how do I build this frame for power strength? Put on a power strength mod. You know, check your stats in the options menu. Do the math yourself, guys. It's a much more enjoyable game when you're like, oh, I did this build, I made this build. When you go on YouTube and you double check how Mugamu or a Gay Guy plays, they're both, you know, pretty alright guys from what I can tell. When you go and look at what they've done and what they've built, you're not doing any of the work yourself, which is what I find to be the most fun part about Warframe. When I hit like 1,000,000 crit damage with something and it was on me, then I feel good at the end of the day, and you guys should. So as I was saying before I cut myself off, you guys just have fun with the game, enjoy the experience. If you're not playing for longer than an hour in like a T4 survival or something like that, just bring stuff you'll have fun with. You don't have to go super try hard every single time. Try a T4 defense without a frost. You know, try a new frame you've never tried before. Get out there and just have fun with the game, guys. So have a nice day, and I'll see you guys around.